Just want to say how wonderful it is when the video begins without scaring me half to death. Just want to say, I don't know how you feel when you watch the opening of my videos, but you must wonder if I actually live on a train track where train wrecks take place every day. Crazy. Here we are, and you know what we're looming onto? We're looming up, sneaking up on the behind of the 8th of August. So there's 8, Lion's Gate. It's a very interesting time in the minds of everyone because we know September is coming. It's right there. Just don't turn your head too quickly because we don't know what it's doing. And so for a lot of us, there's a kind of an unsettled, slight feeling of rush-ishness, where we don't need to be doing it now, but we're going to be needing to do it in a minute. And we don't know if we're ready and we don't want to check because we've still got a few days left. This is how we're looking at it. And that makes anxiety just king of the hill. So I want to talk to you about the follow-up on my Tuesday video with you. And if you're just joining me for the first time, if you've just found me on one of the platforms, because, oh, by the way, Patreon is now among the gang. So this is very exciting. So what I want to continue talking about is the subject that I introduced on Tuesday. And for those of us who didn't see it, I want to merely say that we can get rid of a lot of things that hold us back when we choose to say about ourselves, I was someone who used to, and then fill in the rest of the sentence. I'm going to give you a moment because if that hit you and you weren't prepared, go grab a weapon of mass construction or get your fingertips ready. The reason we want to get in the habit of using that sentence, I was someone who used to, is because we don't realize how much we hang on to a previous version of us, a story that we were told that we have been telling ourselves and anyone who listens, that defines us in ways that were probably brilliant and may not be as timely, as relevant, and therefore as helpful now, because every day we change just a little. So when we first said, I'm someone who, we probably did. We probably were. However, that kind of thing we did is no longer exactly the same as it used to be because we adapt and change and shift. We make minor improvements in everything all the time. And I'm sorry about the phone. We fixed something and now it keeps saying hello. Hi. And so we, when we talk to ourselves, good morning, Eddie. How wonderful to see you. I was looking at your post the other day. Really nice. Really nice. I was saying, Eddie, on Tuesday, that a very helpful thing, a very helpful habit to get into is when we think of ourselves and we think of things that we do that are not as fabulous as they could be, that instead of shame blaming, we can talk to ourselves and say, I was someone who used to blah, 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 blah. And that gives us permission to honor it, remember it, cherish it, and let it go. Let it live there where it did have value, and not try to keep pretzeling ourselves into something that is now no longer big enough and lovely enough for where we are and who we've become. And the idea of doing that establishes a line. And the line is the starting line in our reset and recovery process. And today I'm going to explain exactly why it's a struggle. exactly why it takes longer than we really need it to take. It is one small oops that changes everything. So I'm just going to celebrate seeing Eddie and everybody else who isn't posting in, saying welcome back, and it's lovely to see you on this Thursday. Okay, so there are a lot of motivational coaches out there, and there are a lot of manifesting coaches out there, and there are a lot of programs that talk about vibration, and there are a lot of programs that talk about external validation, do more to be more. And oh, good, Freddie's there. Hi, Freddie. Thanks, Eddie. I still can't see Freddie's stuff. I don't know why. We don't know why. So there are a lot of programs and processes and systems and coaching concepts out there that completely ignore an absolutely tangible, proven scientific fact. Actually, two of them. The first scientific fact they ignore is that when you rush toward things, they recede. As we push our energy and our force field forward, others that are not as strong as ours recede. Have you ever tried to chase a dog or a cat because they need a bath? Yeah, the chasing part is unhelpful. Just saying. If you notice that the keener you are, the more eager you are, the more overwhelmed the people become, because they are not running at your pace. They are not filled with your enthusiasm. And so they do not feel a connection with you anymore, and they step away. We don't realize that because we are filled with the enthusiasm and the wonder and the magic. And then we suddenly realize that we may be the only one standing there. And we don't know why. It's such a good idea. What am I doing wrong? What we're doing wrong is forgetting the one small, tiny shift that is mandatory for everything to fall into place. And so the title I gave the video today is The Law of Apples and Oranges. And I'm going to take one more sip before I start to tell you. When we go to a grocery store or a farmer's market, and we find all different kinds of apples, if we ask the farmer, if we ask an expert, they will tell us that this kind of apple is a new apple that is the product of grafting, that is attaching the origins of two different apples and allowing them to fuse together, to blend together, to grow together, and create a hybrid breed of apple, a hybrid strain of apple. We can't simply get felt markers and color the original apple and say it's now a super red, because it isn't. We've painted it. We've given it a name. But on the inside, that apple is still its original apple. Nothing has changed. In fact, when you taste it with the marker on it, nobody will buy it because gack. And then they won't buy anything else you sell because they realize that you fibbed. How the shift is made is gradual. But the initial step is simple. When you look at all the beautiful varieties of roses, or really any flower, it's just roses, they seem to be doing so much with them these days. There is a hybrid rose that came out that is all the Abbey colors. It's quite remarkable. I saw it and I said, Is that called an Abbey rose? It should be called an Abbey rose because my gosh, how magnificent it's got yellows and oranges and touches of red, little bits of green in the edges. It's so cool. And how do they do that? And well, it's a blend. And how they do it in their gardening is they attach cuttings and allow the flower, the plant itself, to accept and then create variations on what that could be. When people meet, and I'm from this family and you're from that family, if we get together and we have children, they will not be 100% you and they will not be 100% me. They will be the product of all the layers of all the people down through time. And so they will be pure hybrid. In order to, when people, there was this big craze on 23andMe and people wanted to know who they were and where they were from. And they would get these reports back that they were 12% this and 47% that and 2% the other. And it still doesn't explain why I have one purple eye and one blue one, unless I'm part Siamese. And so the understanding that we are evolving, that we are changing a little bit every day, is the normal way we grow and change. It also means that we bring with us all of those strains. And I'm using the strains as a word because it's also applied to stress. If we come to today and we carry with us a strategic moment in our lives, a turning point, a crossroads, when something extraordinary happened, bad, good, sideways, we carry that with us. If we no longer wish to carry it with us, it doesn't change anything if we say, I'm going to will it to go away. I'm going to just deny it. Okay, except that our unconscious default mechanism is always going to include it because those are the strains and stresses applied to our DNA. We can't automatically stop being the apple and become the orange because we wish to. We go through a step that involves recognizing the apple, honoring the apple, categorizing the apple for its influence on us, and then introducing new strains from the new version of us that we are becoming. Consciously, deliberately, we make the decision that the person who felt safe in this way has permission and has the tools, has the strain, has the hybrid now to adopt, adapt, and apply new paths to safety. Those never go away. Those are always part of our DNA strains and stresses. And they give us strength where we need it. They no longer, however, have the power to hijack our purpose and our passion and our goal, because we are introducing new strains that allow us to recognize, respect, and override those decisions, those models, those processes, and move forward. How do we do that? Well, it's not as simple as, blood brothers, slice, slice, woof. It's not that simple. and it's also not that messy and painful. It is that we make one simple decision, one new quality we wish to focus on. And it won't really be a new quality. If we have made it past the age of 5, we are pretty resilient. We are pretty determined to keep on walking here. We just don't necessarily want to walk the way we did and get to the places we were going. So in the master classes that I teach, what I give people permission to do is trace the sources, trace our DNA strains and stresses, trace our assets and our attributes, and notice where things shifted. You know, when logging companies cut down trees, and you look, you can see the rings of the years of the tree. You can also, in those rings, see when there was a fire, see when there was a drought, see when there was some significant shift in the atmosphere around that tree, because it's recorded in the rings. It's their memory book. And we are the same. So yes, if you feel that orange is the new apple, then we can go there. I can help you navigate that path. What we have to learn to recognize is that we become a new strain, a new hybrid version of us when we do that. And in order to become that new hybrid version, we can't simply put lipstick on a pig or a Band-Aid on a break. We need to introduce a cut and a fusion that allows us to bring in that other strain. So we build new. We build it in layers. We build it in density and variety and versatility. And how we do that is not alone. The rose doesn't hybridize itself unless a bee comes along and helps with that. The rose is part of a system. And the hybridization happens when that system works together. So us, we here, our beautiful, beautiful tribe, we are a family. And our family system depends on every single one of our working parts contributing to the outcome, to the shift, to the change. So the master class concept that I created decades ago is that we have to go and stare at what we have and follow each thing to its outcome. So we understand. We become employees, we become participants, partners in the department of the unintended outcome. And we say, so that was unhelpful. What happens if we shift this? Where does that take us? And when we realize that we have still great strength and virtue and flexibility with many, many of our qualities, we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We honor and celebrate all of our qualities. And we just do minor adjustments to the habits we don't realize we're carrying. When I talked to you on Tuesday, and I said I was someone who used to, I'm going to tell you what my sentence is I was someone who used to give my power away every day. I didn't know I was doing it. I gave my power away to people who appeared to need more than they had. I found it easy to compensate for them, to carry part of their load. What I didn't realize in the doing of that is that as long as I carried theirs, I was not carrying mine or looking after me. And I had to learn to time my help and my collaborations in ways that didn't hold me back. And it took a long time. And the reason it took a long time is that it was deeply, deeply embedded in the strains upon my DNA. It came from my childhood. It came from the transient military child life. It came from the illnesses, the challenges that my parents and their parents brought into the DNA. And all that I did, as everyone does, is figure out how to navigate those narrows, those hurdles, those struggles. It didn't occur to me that I no longer needed to do that. It didn't occur to me that that needed to be the way I lived. And it took a very long time for me to see it. Because we can't fix what we can't see. So I definitely was someone who used to give her power away. And now today, I reclaim it. I reclaim my access to resilience. I reclaim my strength and my creativity. And I show other people the steps they may have taken that were unhelpful. And then we talk about the hybrid version they're choosing to be. That I was someone who used to doesn't mean I am that someone today. It doesn't have to mean it's you either. It means that we get to see the wrong turn at Albuquerque. Thanks, Bugs Bunny. We get to see the unconscious decision we make. My mother always used to turn left out of every doorway. When I asked, she'd say, "No, I don't." "Well, yes, you did. Yes, you do." "Oh, I wonder why." And then she forgot, and next time she had, she turned left. We carry with us these little unconscious ticks and twerks. And until they are pointed out to us, until we recognize them, we keep doing it because it has become a habit. We can rehybridize who we are. We can rebuild. Follow-up doctor appointment. Be safe, Eddie. Lovely to see you. Hugs to Jeff. We get to do and be as soon as we are ready. And as soon as you are ready, you can talk to me. Because this is how it works. We cannot self-graft the change. We cannot be in two places at once. And for those of us who have followed along the Do More to Be More, and this is the program, Do It Like Me, have been poorly served, because that isn't how it works. It has never been how it works. You know that Do More to Be More thing? Chase the tail? That was first introduced as a motivational training concept in the year 1760. Yeah, with the dawning of the industrial age. So I think it's safe to say that it's outdated. I think it's safe to say that we've been there and done that, and the t-shirt doesn't fit. I think it's safe to say that we already are all the more there is. All we need to do for us, for our peace of mind and our prosperity, is realize that we might be 1 degree away from the perspective we need, from the tools we need, and from the team that helps us rebuild and grow and thrive. So I was someone who used to be is a great sentence. I say it in the morning and I say it at night. And then I'm very grateful immediately that I have moved on. Good morning, Rob. Good morning, Rhea. How wonderful to see you. So, Rob, I've done a shift. I'm going to send you the shift, and you're going to look at it and say, oh, of course. Rhea, I'm so glad to see you back on social media. You're finally able to figure out how to get back among us. Well done, girl. So what I'm talking about today, you guys, is part 2 of Tuesday. Tuesday, I introduced the sentence, I was someone who used to. And I explained then that the someone who used to was operating on those rules, by those assumptions, in those circumstances. And we don't have to be held hostage to that. As soon as we say, I was someone who used to, it gives us permission to stop. We don't have to carry the guilt or the shame or the blame. We did it. Done. Good. Got the t-shirt. Listen, old. Some people are older than others, and they're still fabulous. So the conversation today, Rob, and the conversation today, Rhea, is this. You can't automatically shift from being an apple to an orange simply because you would like to. Simply because you close your eyes and hold your breath and clench your fists and say, I'm an orange, I'm an orange, I'm an orange. As soon as you stop doing that, you're still an apple. And so what I am saying is that if we look at the way people graft and create hybrid flowers and hybrid vegetables and hybrid fruit and hybrids of so many things, we can see the metaphor. We can give ourselves permission to recognize who we are and who we were and what we used to. And we can say, of those behaviors, then I still value these processes, these procedures, these systems, and these outcomes. I still value those. Good, then we keep them. The ones we don't value, we have permission to look at other qualities and adopt them, adapt them, apply them, create that splice, that repetition every day to make sure the bond is good, and remind ourselves every day that this is working so that we can become gradually but easily the new hybrid version. And work forward with those new strengths woven into the original fabric. It's simple, and it prevents us from feeling upset and disappointed that I did the 7-day diet. Why didn't it work? Because your mindset and your body and your system and your processes were still in a different gear. Still, that system's focus, its purpose, its wiring was status quo. We have to graft a new purpose to the old. We have to recognize that there is a process. And what I was saying just before you joined us is that in a masterclass like mine, I help you navigate, I help you understand, I show you how that grafting process happens and is monitored and is nurtured until it takes hold. This is the process. It's never a solitary pursuit. Flowers don't hybridize themselves. At the very least, they need a bee carrying the pollen. So we have this possibility together, collectively, collaboratively, to become with clarity and comfortably and easily the version of us that serves us now. And by the way, honor the version that served us then, however successful it was. Thank you. You got me here. And now I'm adding ingredients to the mix to take me forward. Our opportunity to see that I was someone who used to, that I have the capacity and the collaborators to graft stronger qualities that help me fly and be free. The one thing it requires us to do is give ourselves permission. Keep one hand there for context, but let the other hand go and place it firmly on the new me, the one who's ready to thrive and grow. And gradually, because we can't ride two horses across a stream, gradually, as this takes hold, as this is stronger, we can let that go. We never entirely lose it. It's always there. We don't have to nurture it. It's embedded. It's embedded. We can now do this, and this, and this, and thrive and prosper. It's very cool. We can become the hybrid apple orange very easily, as long as we understand that it's a process and not wishful, willful thinking. It's not chasing. It's creating. I hope that kind of gave you a nod. I hope that in the same way that when I said, now what? And everybody blinked. Good morning, John. All this topic seems to be a great birthday present for you. John, well, happy birthday. Happy birthday. This is exactly the kind of birthday present that everybody should have. The grafting process feels like a miracle because in many ways it is. And birthdays are meant for miracles. So happy birthday, John. Happy birthday. Here's to many more. Many more. Replying to John, birthday fellow Leo, yes. Leo, and by the way, here you are, staring just over there at the 8-8 portal. What timing, John? What timing? So with that said, what I want to share with you, it's really exciting and it's really fun. I was approached by some people in the local community theater, community arts, music, dance community, to talk about a challenge that they have. And the challenge is that a very large performing arts center here in town was really hit hard by the flooding in July, to the extent that they have been worried about the structure itself, the building itself, and the basement levels where a lot of things are stored and were ruined. So they have taken a vote with their shareholders and they've closed the building for the remainder of the year. And this has left many of the performing arts in the community with no place to do their shows, no place to get together, to be part of that creative family, to collaborate and build for the next show, because it becomes quite addictive. You know, you do one and as soon as you're done, you don't want it to be over. So you sign up for the next show. You know, I started this one and now I'll be a stagehand, right? I just want to be part of it because, you know, we rehearse and then we get together afterwards and we talk and we laugh and we share and it becomes a surrogate family. And in community events, it takes a long time to do the rehearsing, right? Because we have other lives. So it's, you know, it's a month or two of getting ready. And then it's, in order to celebrate appropriately, it's at least a couple of weeks of shows. So you're looking at almost a 3-month commitment. Okay, so if that has become part of your life and part of your family's life and part of the community's life, and suddenly it isn't, what on earth are they going to do? So I was talking with one of them who said, you know, it'd be great if at least there was something that felt like we were still together. And it felt like those backstage times when we sit and talk about all the disasters that the audience never knew. And I said, oh, you know what? So we brainstormed a little, and this is what we came up with. I've been teasing this idea of a Wednesday ABCAST. And I didn't know whether it was going to be morning or evening. Anyway, I called it Now What Wednesdays. Lots of people call it Hump Day. I like Now What Wednesdays because now what is the thing we say? So I said, oh, I've got an idea. So here's the idea, and it's like the ink is still wet. So you guys are the first to hear it. I'm going to do on Wednesdays a 10 a.m. and a 7 p.m., two separate, not just going to rebroadcast, two separate. And it's not going to be me by myself doing this. It's going to be me talking with local and former local who moved on and moved up and are connected to other bigger names in theater and music and dance and recording and pretty much any creative painting, event planners. Oh my gosh, event planners all deserve medals. All the people who create a fictional reality for a moment in time. Because we all have endless stories of the train wreck no one saw but us. And they are hilarious. They are the ultimate behind the scenes bloopers. And they never get old. And nobody knows they happened except us. So I thought, well, it's time to just whip the cover off that. And so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to talk to local producers and artists and entertainers, creators. I'm going to talk to the ones who began local and moved on and still remember their good old days. I'm going to reach out to the people that I worked with on the kids show and the cartoons and the other stage performances. And we're going to talk about the challenge that comes with changing the game, the challenge that comes with saying, I'm going to step into unfamiliar territory. Are you with me? And then the most remarkable, yes, but like the time you got covered in a 5-liter bucket of paint. Exactly. It didn't get the lid on. So doesn't that sound awesome? So thank you, Freya. So the idea is going to be, it's going to have 3 parts, okay? I'm going to talk to people who get it and are willing to share it. I'm going to reveal the things that happen to me that will make them laugh. And then, because of this crisis in our community, and because of the way people are fragmenting, I'm going to go through the different theater companies, the organizations themselves, and I'm going to reach out through those theater companies, the organizations themselves, to tap into the local businesses who benefit by being involved in what these creative people do. Whether they are florists, whether they are purveyors of costumes or makeup or makeovers, whether they provide insurance, whether they are the people who deliver and return all the things that are needed, the businesses that are our collateral assets in the working at creative levels. And I'm going to say to them, rather than me being on these platforms where they insert commercials that we don't want to see, why don't you create a commercial and pay me? Let me support you. Let you support me. And together we support the creative community. And we derive the joy in that process because it gives us a place to go and do and be when we can't go out. You know, the local theaters, the local performing centers during COVID teetered on the brink. Several of them closed because they didn't have enough other assets and avenues. This is our safety net. And we're going to be on Facebook, we're going to be on LinkedIn, we're going to be on YouTube, we're going to be on Patreon, we're going to be on Twitch. I'm going to simulcast on all these platforms because I have this hub that allows me to do that. So I'm telling you now, you're the first to know, because I want you to spread the word. Every single one of us knows someone in a creative community. Every single one of those people would love to talk about the disasters that they survived and maybe almost didn't, because they are endlessly funny and they are endlessly bonding. And everyone on the planet loves those opportunities to see behind the scenes. That's what that was. Oh my God, I didn't know. Everybody loves it. So Now What Wednesdays is going to launch rickety new next Wednesday, the 12th of August, 10 a.m., exactly the same way this does, except you will see two of us, because I will be talking to someone who has been through it the way I have and the way you have too. So Now What Wednesdays, we've been talking about it for a month and a half. I knew there was going to be something that would poke its head up and said, I love the name, I believe it belongs to me. Yes, it does. And by the way, in the performing arts community, you generally open on a Friday night. You have a preview night on Thursday for invited people to tell you what's wrong with it, even though it's probably too late. And then the run begins in earnest Friday night, and then it goes for its week or two. So Now What Wednesdays has another definition. And the other definition, it is the day you realize that you really, really needed more time. And now what are we going to do? The minute I said Now What Wednesdays to the general manager of one of the theater companies, he said, oh my God, I just had a moment. Oh, that was it. Don't do that. Don't sneak up on me like that. I said, I know, right? Okay, maybe they won't know. Maybe they won't know. Of course they're going to know. Shh. It's hilarious. And what that kind of hilarity gives us, these near miss train wreck moments, is a feeling of community. It's a feeling of collaboration. It's a feeling that we are still walking here, no matter what. And we all need a giant helping of that these days. So what I'm going to talk about it again. I'll of course mention it on Tuesday. I'll be posting it until it's annoying. Except that I hope it isn't, because I hope when you see the post, it will trigger a reminder to you to reach out to your friend who loves to do that. Paint night, right? The disasters at paint night. The hat making competition at the county fair. I once saw one that got a prize for the most effort. And I got to tell you, the minute you saw the prize and you looked at the hat, you understood why that was the badge it got. It was a very busy hat. And so it's that kind of thing. It's that kind of thing. We are, all of us, creating hybrid concepts, excited to see what the outcome brings. We can follow the law of apples and oranges. We just need someone to navigate us through the narrows and over the hurdles to get to the other side. I was someone who used to. She was a powerful influence on me. Some of the influences cost me. All of them created me. And we are the same. So I'm going to love you and leave you a little early. Stuff to do. Now what's to create? Be good to you. You deserve it. No matter how old the laptop is, no matter how many people forget that you are coping with something they know nothing about. You're amazing. Every day, rain or shine, awake and asleep. So be good to you. You deserve it. Remember to hug your loved ones, because they're in the boat with us too. And I will catch you next time. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.